let you walk us in.
We're walking. I'm out. Hey, welcome back to Scarred Perspectives. Melanie.
Lane.
And we're here to talk about Jesus.
Yeah. And today I think is a really cool show. So obviously, as you can see, that these are progressing. You know, we're learning, just like you're walking faith, you got to learn step by step on things. You got to fail a lot, you know, in order for you to get, just like in anything that you learn. And we were blessed with some people that came in to help the podcast. And even through that, we kind of going to change it up just a little bit today. We asked some people to give us the topics of discussion today. So which one do you want to take first? So that's the episode for today.
Let's talk about salvation.
Salvation, what it meant before the relationship and what it means now. Okay, that's a good one. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Oh, no, I picked the topic, so you would have to. No, I'm just kidding.
I see how that works. Well, okay. So for me, it was about a transactional relationship.
Right.
I believed that my salvation was not just the fact that I committed to God. I believed it, and accepted him in my heart and then tried to walk his path. I believed it was done through acts. I thought that the more I helped people or the things, which meant to me also that I could lose salvation by not doing the right path.
Are you an acts of service love languager?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that. And
you carry that over, right, into your relationship with God?
Yeah.
I am too. It's up quality time too, but like.
And then, see, the worst things for me, it's like acts of service and words of affirmation. So like,
That's my worst.
So like, I'm there going, God, did you hear me?
Are you speaking back yet? Just need that affirmation.
Just need you to talk.
No, but it's so true. Like you take the love languages, they're so true in our relationships, right? But then you like go to have a relationship with God and you take those same parameters and you're like, okay, God, like, this is how I'm going to handle my relationship with you too. And so when you don't, what if you had physical touch? You'd be really messed up. At least you can get some words of affirmation out of the Bible.
Well, what does Spurgeon say? If you want to hear God talk, read the Bible. If you want to hear him talk out loud, read it out loud.
Yeah.
So no, I think for me, for salvation, I thought it was a continual test every day, and that if I didn't fulfill it, I was surrounded by also a lot of people that in my life, as I've studied, I'm going to therapy. I highly recommend therapy. It's really good no matter where you think you are in life.
Therapy's good for everyone.
And learning about familia bonds and things like that I categorized in that it was growing up. What have you done lately? Yeah. What have you accomplished more?
What have you done for me?
And that drove me great in business.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm highly successful because of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's great in business because I look at the score sheet, like what is going on there. But I applied that to my walk with God, and for me, when having that transformative event that my pastor actually said the other day, about like Jacob, like wrestling, like I was fighting with God that day in that hotel room. That was an event that changed me. Now it took me months for me to still unravel and unwrap and all the things that I was going through, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it because now I look back at that version of me. I was unhealthy in relationships, unhealthy in family, because I thought it goes back to, and you and I have touched on this before, somebody goes, "You're loving father." And I'm like, yeah, mine was transactional, so that's my take.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I got saved when I was about 14 and I was going through a lot of family turmoil. My parents were getting divorced, all of that was happening and you're 14. Right. And so we were going to church and I just felt like everyone at church was so happy all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want that. Like, how do I get that? And so, I had people talk me through salvation and I accepted Christ, but I didn't know
right.
what that was. And so, cue many, many years of like, here's the path and here I am.
Right.
Like coming back. I don't think I really understood a relationship with Christ until my second marriage was falling apart. And then we were trying to rebuild through that. And, they tell you that marriage is a picture of what your relationship with Jesus should be.
Yeah.
It's so true. But I think that we have such a mental block around putting those two together, because we have like all these social constructs of this is marriage and this is equal partnership and this is what this looks like. And so it's like
The 50-50 rule or
all
like,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so like you can't apply that to your relationship with Christ. So until you like really understand kind of those, you redesign those constructs that you're living in marriage, and then you're like, oh, okay, so this is sacrificial, right? Like salvation ends up being, I think probably not in the beginning, but if you're maturing in Christ, it becomes sacrificial because you start letting go of what you want in favor of what they want.
Yeah.
And that's your relationships across the board, not just marriage, but friends and everything start changing when you start having this mentality of a strong relationship is sacrificial. I think that's when I was like, this is what salvation is. He sacrificed everything for me on the cross. And he didn't have to. Like I think people forget he didn't have to. He could have walked away at any point. And he sacrificed everything for me. You get to a place where that's what you want to do for him too. And that is like where salvation goes from, oh, I just want my ticket to heaven, to I want this to change my life now.
Yes. Okay. All of that. And it was the verse for me, and I've got it on my wrist. I had this made. This has got my kids' birthdays, and it's got Philippians 2:3-4. And what it boils down to me is this hit me the hardest because it's in the NLT version, and it says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition." I'd always put this lever, like, oh, God's up first. Of course God's first, but boy, I got to get this done. Oh, I've got this responsibility, but God's up here. God's up here. You know, he's there, type of a deal. Like you're cool. Oh, cool. You know, that kind of thing.
Like you're here, right?
Yeah, you're there. You know, it's like that Kevin Hart meme. Yep. Hey, up. You know, that kind of thing. And it got me to the point where I read that verse, and I read it in November of last year when my world just collapsed. I read it again in December when I found out about my medical stuff was really prevalent at that point. And then I read it again in January, and each time it hit so much differently to me. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything out of selfish ambition, so I'm going to do things for this person. Okay, well, God kept on putting me in a position to where he kept on weeding until he was like, oh, wait a minute. No, you're not doing anything out of selfish ambition for myself. It's all about what am I sacrificing? Mm-hmm. That was where I found that it was okay to put up boundaries with people, that it was okay to say I'm a Christian and not give every ounce of me, you know, because that acts of service goes both ways with me.
Right.
Like I believe that if I do it for people, then they'll do it for me, type of a deal. And it was, you know, Philippians 2. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to reference that. Mm-hmm. You're angry, right? You're angry, and you can be angry. You're allowed to be angry as long as you're righteous, and you're not supposed to let the sun go down in your anger. So you
take your anger to God.
Yeah, you take it to him and you give it away. You can do all these things. So, but if your anger, if it's not found in the root cause, right? So then you're not sacrificing that root. It's like, and you start digging into that and you learning it. And I mean, you know me for a while. You know, I'm impulsive. I've got all those traits that are a lot of things. And I had to sit back. I mean, you know, my prayer board downstairs, like I got that, and that's the other section, the 24-hour rule now. Is it edifying me or God?
Yeah.
Is it out of selfish ambition to respond this way? Now, the regular responses of talking to people is one thing, but I'm talking about the...
Yeah. No, well, I mean, look, I spent a long time having to go to God before I made decisions because I was trying to find the line of like, what am I deciding for me?
Right.
And is that in line with what I think he has said his plan is for me? Or, you know, all of these things. You graduate from school, right? You're graded. You go into college and you're graded.
Right.
You come out of college and you're measured by how fast are you growing on the corporate ladder. Bless the people who don't have that drive, right? The ones who can be content in the moment and the season. They used to drive me crazy. Now I'm like, boy, you really found a secret that the rest of us have not found.
Right.
But like you just
Yeah.
you're constantly measured on the success, right? And you're moving up. It feels like it's the right thing to do because I'm taking care of my family.
Mhm.
I can tithe. I can support other people when they have financial needs. I have influence that can make things happen. Like there's so many things that look so good that it's so easy to say, "Oh, like God has to be blessing this.
Mhm.
This has to be in his plan for me."
Mhm.
And if you're not careful, you're not doing it for God. It's like I'm doing it instead of God. Oh, hey God, I don't need you to handle this for me.
I got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
I could do this by myself. I'll call you.
I'll call you.
We'll have some prayer time when I need you to step in.
I'll call you. Don't call me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll reach out when
really.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Really. And so I think all of us need to have that moment where we stop and we say, "Oh, wait, who is this really for?" Like if I dig down and I'm vulnerable in myself, who am I really doing this for? Am I doing this because I like how people are going to see me? And I think when I say this, I'm not just talking about secular business. I'm not just talking about any of that. I'm talking about like ministry too,
Mm.
because very quickly ministries and your work in ministry can get sideswiped into, oh, I want to do this so that people see me.
Right.
And it's a good thing, right? I want to do this so people see me.
Right.
And it's a good thing for God. When really it's like it needs to be what God called you to.
Yeah, okay, that's a really good thing right there. That it is about what God calls you to do. And I've been blessed with being able to do some things that other people just can't do. I've never been a stranger. I can stand on a stage in front of 1,000 people and speak right now. I'm educated enough in my craft to do that.
Right.
And I know that public speaking is what the number one fear, number two fear that most people have.
So crazy to me. Like put me in front of strangers on a stage. I'll talk all day long. But you ask me to walk up to someone one-on-one and be like, "Hi, I'm Melanie." And I'm like, "Oh no, they can come talk to me."
Well, that's the gifts that God has given me, but I'm starting to, I know that you and I are horrible at remembering the books that pretty much you just give me,
Yeah.
but the one that you had given a long time ago to a family member, which was Total Forgiveness.
Yeah.
There's a passage in there that talks about when you fail and you hold on to that failure, you're not letting God do the work.
Yeah.
And so that led me into learning, well, first off, looking at a refreshed look at what I'm doing and what is the fruit that it's bearing and who are the fruit for.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm going to plug mine, Coffee with Jesus, every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on my Facebook.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I do that is that I try to make sure that I mention the daily struggles that we have, because nobody ever, like you said in the beginning, I was saved, I've got salvation, now what?
Yeah.
And I think every time I fail, there's this moment at about 8:49 in my pit of my stomach going, what are you doing?
Uh-huh.
You're not qualified.
Uh,
You're not. You're
it's
not.
every time I sit down to write. Every time.
And then I just pray through it. And the thing is that I'm very grateful for where God has put me and going on those stages. I've taken a year off from that.
Yep.
Because I'm terrified of doing that. And I think one of the things that we need to learn about salvation and about what it means before, first, and after, I had all that guilt. Because it was Lane Gregory. It was Lane Gregory. It was Lane Gregory on stage. Lane Gregory CEO. Lane Gregory, authority.
Yeah.
Lane Gregory, da 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 da. And just like the enemy does, then it was used against me by people. It was
Right.
tied into, you're too prideful, you're too arrogant. I'm like, but this is how I pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know,
This isn't about me.
this isn't about me.
This is my job.
It's my job.
I remember that.
So that was the problem, is I had to be a personality 24 hours a day, 7 days a week around people because I wanted to be authentic.
Right. But it wasn't authentic at all.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I really did. I mean, like, I don't mind. I love being around people. I get recharged
Yeah.
by people, but I hated being like this
To
top
feel
hat.
like you had to be something specific. Like you couldn't just be you.
Right. And have that feeling now is more along the lines of, I've always said, I don't care what you think about me.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't anymore.
I know there's one person who I care about that thinks about what I am. I care if my husband thinks about me, but like,
Right.
really, if he is bad, take it up with God.
Take it up with God, type of a deal. So
Have you ever spelled a word wrong so many times that when you start spelling it right, like you second guess it every time you spell the word?
Restaurant.
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 My in-laws' last name. I have it right, but I doubt it every time. So that is a lot what this is like, right? Like you get into this, you have to get the confidence back that I'm in a different place
Right.
to do the same thing I used to do, but I'm in a new place doing that. And it's the same thing as when you spell that word wrong. It's that doubt that you have right at the beginning. But I think that doubt is the indicator that, like, no, you got it, right? Because you wouldn't doubt it if you weren't worried about it
Oh.
or thinking about it or filtering what you were choosing through that. Like, there would be no doubt if you weren't doing it different.
If it wasn't so important.
Yeah.
So your walk with God, you're saying is you doubt you're doing it right because it's so important
It's
to you.
prevalent on your brain. I don't want to step wrong. I don't want to walk wrong. I don't want to walk in the wrong way and down the wrong path. Like, but the whole fact that you're doubting that you're doing it right is really kind of the sign that it doesn't mean you're not going to fail. It doesn't mean you're not going to make a bad choice, but at least you know it's like prevalent. It's at the front of your brain, not, oh yeah, we can chat about that later.
If this podcast goes nowhere, I can tell you one thing. Every single time that you and I sat down and talked and done this, you have blown my mind. And I never thought about that. No, so I seriously, again, you go back to, taking score. And I mean, like in the business world, my P&L. My
Yeah.
P&L is it. I mean, it comes down to profit or loss.
Yeah.
That's it. Because how do you make all these payments? Well, in my walk with God, it's still. I just realized you sitting here talking to you, I'm still making it transactional. I really am, because now, it's not that I don't realize I can screw up and go back, right? Because we all are fallible, but I've been so worried about doing it
Wrong.
wrong, and I thought it was that imposter syndrome. I felt, but it makes sense. It's because it's so important.
It's so important.
Okay, blow my mind. There are paths and potholes. All right.
Yeah, it's the Holy Spirit. So let's just straighten that out right now. Please do not give me the credit. I am not great. Just every now and then he gives me a nugget, and that's what all this gray hair is.
That's the
like
gray
the
hair?
nuggets.
That's the gray-
the
the
nuggets.
nuggets.
It's the
Okay.
What did someone say? Wisdom glitter or something?
That's awesome. I think we look at our path, and we do. I had this, I would say, stall. Like, I just stopped everything, for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I'm only focusing on God. And what I didn't realize is that he had, even, like we've talked about this before, even when I wasn't following him, he was protecting me.
Yep.
He was providing for me. He was setting me up. Because again, he knew the path that he had for me. He was just waiting for me to like take that step back.
Right.
I think the other thing that I have really focused on lately is when I'm getting anxious,
Yeah.
when I'm getting stressed out, I take a step back and I go, how far from God am I in this?
Uh-huh.
How far away am I right now? And what I've come to learn is it's usually, I'm a pattern person, so I like to like dig into patterns, and I like to see where those patterns take me, and especially on a roadmap. And I will back up and say, at what point, what decision, what choice did I make that put me in a different thing?
The
And
one where you're depending on yourself.
right, and it always comes back to, and it's a hard stop for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've angered some people by going, I can't do this. I can't go there. I can't be there. I can't do that. Because it's easy for me to jump back into, well, first off, Paul talks about backsliding. It's easy to do that, but it's also easy to believe that you're above it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, I
got it.
I got this type of deal.
Keyword, right?
yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
Like keyword. Boy, anxiety is like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had such high anxiety. It's so funny because, and we'll have to talk about this another day, but it's like it swung from one extreme to the other. I had so much anxiety over everything. Like I used to say I had a 5-year plan, and if anything changed, then I would just remap my 5-year plan. But there would always be a 5-year plan.
Right. How's that pregnancy working out for you?
Yeah. Thank God I let those plans go. And I've kind of swung the other way. I was talking to someone else, and where it's like, I have been really struggling with prayer. Not to have prayer, but like, what is the purpose of prayer with God? Because I'm so used to it being like, oh, let me pray for these specific things and yada, yada, yada. And I just kind of learned like, well, I'm going to give this to God and I'm not going to worry about it anymore. And I got pretty effective at like, here you go. Here's my
Mm-hmm.
mess. So please fix it. And I don't worry about it anymore. So I'll sit down to pray and I'll be like, well, I mean, I didn't even want to ask you this. I already gave it to you. You're on it, right? Like, what? I don't need anything from you because I already gave it to
I
you.
gotta admit, it's frustrating when I call it when I say, "How can I pray over you and Brian?" You're like, "We're good,"
We're
and I'm
fine.
like,
No, we're fine. Like, I guess the normal stuff, but like, I think we've just moved into such a place that we're like, I know with full confidence, God's got us.
"Yeah,
And we could be in a cardboard box on the side of the
so awesome."
road, and we just know there's purpose and God's got us. And so we just don't stress about those things. I mean, it has really messed with my head
Yeah.
because I was such a planner. And so when you talk about things like retirement, I have to be so intentional about thinking about it because I'm like, I don't know, God's got me.
Right.
Like, if He keeps me on this earth long enough to need that money, I will have that money when I need it. Like, we just come to such a place where it's just like, we're so surrendered and so trusting. And I'm not naive enough to think that bad things won't happen to us
Right.
or that they don't happen to us, but we just know there's going to be purpose in it and we'll walk through it. And I'm just sitting back here chilling, going through life like, I don't know. What you got next? Let's do it.
Okay, so you've convicted me. Thanks.
You'll get there.
And I know it was the spirit, but I feel like I'm falling back into a lot of that, and I do recognize that I am.
Well, busyness is, I learned a few years ago, busyness is how the enemy gets me. And
Okay.
so I had to be on high alert with busyness. And it will be very good, very help everyone, like busyness, just busy. And when I get busy, then you get tired, then you start putting, I don't wake up so early, or I'll do my Bible study at the end of the day. And then the end of the day is 9 p.m. And you're like, I'm out. I got to be up early. Like when I really pinpointed that was the easiest way for the enemy to attack me, I really had to pay attention and kind of
So when do you suggest somebody gets into the Word during the day, like dedicates time?
like, it's so cliche, but if I don't do it in the morning, I'm not going to.
I'm the same way.
I'm not going to. I'm just going to get too busy. And I mean, it's gotten to the point where I have backslid recently, but like I wouldn't even look at my phone when I woke up
Scriptures before screens.
until I had done it because someone emailed or text or whatever at 6:53 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can't let it go.
Right.
And then I tried to do quiet time, but I'm just thinking about like
the
what I
email,
need
the
to
message.
respond. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just didn't even look at my phone. I just get up and get my Bible first because it's just not going to happen.
So my D&D does not go on until after 6 a.m. So it goes on between 6 and 8, and it forces me, because my alarm will go off, but it forces me not to look at the phone. I had to do that because I stopped. I went a good, I mean, I hate to admit this, but I went a good 60 days without fully dedicating an hour to God every day. Oh, I can get to it.
Oh, only 60 days?
Well, I mean, like in the last year, yeah. So I went a full 60
pretty
days,
good.
and I was so frustrated with myself, and I kept on, and then I had the condemnation every night, like, oh God, I've got to do this.
feel
Oh
horrible.
God, oh God,
Yeah.
I got to do this, and then
But then it becomes a task, right? So you don't even enjoy it when you do it.
exactly, and so I had to, when I moved into my new home, I lost my prayer room.
Oh.
And that was it for me. I lost my prayer room. And so
It's your
then
routine. Anytime your routine gets
oh yeah.
thrown out.
Yeah, it affected me, and I was like, it was one of those things where I kept on trying to find places, and then a young lady that works for me, I truly believe, in tune with God. She wasn't even talking to me. She was talking to somebody else, and she made the comment about, I had heard the song "Praise You Anywhere" that morning, or like for a week.
Yeah.
I had heard Mark Driscoll on one of his deals about, you can find it in the truck, the men, you can do it in your truck, you can do it in da-da-da-da. And then I heard her talking to somebody about how you don't need anywhere to study, because she was going to a Bible study. And I about faced. I went downstairs, I opened my Bible, I put my earplugs in, and I turned on my music, and I just went, that's it. And then it stopped being a chore again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's really important for people to understand, like, it doesn't have to be an hour.
mm-mm.
What I've been trying to wrap my head around coming into this next season of my life is that my time is going to look very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a little dictator in my house telling us what we're going to do
An
when.
infant terrorist.
And that's at 2. They turn into the terrorists. But I just need to be prepared that it's going to look different.
Right.
Our church has this women's banquet every Christmas, and we had a speaker come, and she has this little book, and you can get it on eBay. It's this little bitty book. It's like $5. And her whole thing is give it 20 minutes a day. And what I love about her little book, and I gave it to my husband too, even though it's like geared for women, is it's 5 or 6 different ways to study scripture. It's different women that she talked to and how do you do your Bible study and stuff, but it only takes like 20 minutes a day. And she said at her thing, if you will just give it 20 minutes a day, it will turn into
An hour.
2
hours, yeah.
2, 3, like, what do you have time for? And she was so right. It's an evolution, right? I think we get saved, we find salvation, and then we know what the perfect Christian is, and we just feel like we need to be right there. And I think when we can accept that our salvation is an evolution from that moment, and it's something that's going to constantly grow and change, and you're going to get better, and you're going to be convicted about more things, and it's not ever really failing. It's just a process to change your heart. Then we stop being so hard on ourselves. Because in the beginning, I would be like, oh, I didn't do any time today, so I'm just not going to do it tomorrow either, right? Like, I've already messed up this week. I'll start fresh on Monday.
It's like dieting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's just an evolution. So you just give it what you've got while you can, and God will change your heart, and these things will evolve into what you expect them to be.
I was gonna ask you for advice to give people, and I think you just did a phenomenal job. I really do.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody has 20 minutes.
Mine again goes back to anxiety. When I've got anxiety, I take a stop, and I have this image, and I want somebody to create this meme for me, where it's, like these 2 paths going up, and one stops, and this one goes that way, and it's like just a dude hanging out there doing one of these, checking his watch. You gonna show up? Because I feel like God stays there, and He's like, I'm just waiting on you. I'm just
You're gonna loop all the way back around,
and then your path is, and then you get back there, and then you inevitably go, but why didn't you help me? He's like, been waiting on you.
Yeah.
Been waiting on you.
Yeah.
I just think that getting out of our own way is a big deal. So, is there a scripture that you use that whenever you feel that you're
Like the anxiety and pressure? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's written on my mirror. The lady who cleans my house doesn't even wipe that part of my mirror. At the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen.
Okay.
Isaiah 60:22. I mean, Isaiah is a great book. It's very prophetic, but I think for me, it's at the right time, right? Not at my time. And that's the hardest part. Like, that's 90% of our anxiety is, well, why haven't you done it right now?
Right.
I want you to do it on my timeline, or with the expectation I have of how you're going to solve this problem. But to just know, like, definitively, no, wait, in the right time. And I can't see all the pieces to know the right time. At the right time, I will make it happen. I just hang on to that. I say it all the time to myself. I say it to other people all the time. I'm praying for this. I just want this to happen. I want this baby to come out next week. But at the right time,
yeah,
I, the Lord, will make it happen. And I tell everyone, whenever she comes, she'll be perfect because it's this kid. It's just a reminder that we're not on my schedule, right? I don't live my life for me and what I want anymore. I live my life for what He has and what will move His kingdom forward. And so when I can remind myself that it's just not my timing, and that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That really kind of like just recenters me into who's in control.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, right? Anxiety is a control issue.
It is. Jordan Peterson, I think, said it's putting our needs above the greater good. And that's in the secular world. But when you think about it, it's putting our needs, our wants, our desires above where God wants us to be.
Yeah.
Mine, I know it's cliche to a lot of people, and I understand we could get into the Jeremiah conversation. But Jeremiah 29:11 still has that. For I alone know the paths that I have for you. And that's why that meme I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it fits to me because it's like, I'm not on the right path. I've chosen to go off this path.
Yep.
So if I've chosen, I need to get back on it right now. And I do that. Anger and lust for me are really easy. As somebody who is, I'm again used to solving it all.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work and I'm pulling my hair out, or I'm being attacked by someone, some issue, or I'm dealing with a family thing, like with my kids or something like that, or any of these things, a client not paying, or a client overstepping a contract, or all these different things. To me, it's like, well, I need to set back. God has a plan, and this could be part of it.
Yeah. What we feel like is bad
Yeah.
is not always bad in the bigger picture.
I mean, that's a podcast for a
Like
different time.
losing a job or, stuff.
Right. But why does God let bad things happen to you? Well,
That's a whole series.
right. I'll give my 30-second overview on that. For me, it's that, what do I learn? What am I to learn in this season? What am I learned to this situation? How did I cause it? Because nobody in the world is going to sit there and go, I did nothing wrong. If you say that, you're a liar.
Yeah, you're wrong.
And you
were wrong.
already started off the conversation wrong.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's, where did I mess up? And it always begins for me is, where in that path did I deviate?
Yeah.
And I have to do that. I know not a lot of people are that way. And if it's something that benefits people, journaling is good.
Yeah.
Journaling is really good in making those decisions. I've got a friend of mine that does a timeline journal, that they actually try to recall their day from the time they wake up. It's hour by hour on the things that they did. And I found that to be a really incredible thing. Me, never gonna happen. But
I will appreciate this recording to remember what I said 45 minutes ago, because I don't know.
Yeah.
If I tried to do my whole day,
yeah.
I woke up, I drove some places.
There was a thing that I did.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson, he's a British auto journalist, and he had this one TV show, a couple TV shows, and now he's got one about a farm. And every time he completes something, he yells out, I did a thing. And I just need somebody to walk around and be hearing, I did a thing. And go, at 8:59, he did a thing.
What did you do? Things today?
Things.
Well, I think too, though, it's important to, yes, what did I do to help create this situation? But I think people say, why does God let bad things happen? It's not God. God isn't giving you bad things. Like, there's a whole lot of other stuff at play when bad things happen, and you have a choice. You can either have free will, and that's going to create bad things, right? Because people are going to choose bad things.
Yeah.
Or you can have a God who tells everybody what they're going to do, and we're basically just robots. And I don't know anyone that wants that. So sometimes it's consequences. Sometimes it's someone else that did it and created it. I think our hope has to stay focused on, he will redeem it. Whatever it is, he will redeem it. I can give you a laundry list of bad things that God has redeemed in my life.
Yeah.
Personally, he's standing there on that path waiting for you to come back, right? He's so faithful. Yeah. He's so faithful.
Definitely a topic we will hit on another podcast will be that. But I think we both agree and kind of disagree in that. I do think that God says, okay, I know what's going to happen if you make this decision. But like you said, on the other side, free will. I'm going to let it happen.
I'm going to let you do it. Yeah, but absolutely. But it's your decision. And he's not planting bad things in your path.
Okay, I misunderstood you. Yeah.
No, he's not
I was like, I disagree
he
with that.
He will allow because of choice.
Yeah.
Because you have a choice. But he's not handing down bad things just to be like, let's see how you handle that.
I got to be honest with you. I don't know if we deviated too much off of salvation and what it means before a relationship, what it
Would
means
it
now.
be Scarred Perspectives if we did not deviate to 14 other topics before the end?
I feel like it, but it goes back to the path.
We got it back.
We got back to the path. We what do they call it? Weaving a story.
Yeah.
We weave the story. I would just sum it up. My part would be, God didn't open a door for me to stare at blankly and ask what next. He said, walk through it and be obedient. And for me, learning that salvation had nothing to do with what I personally could do except for giving my life to him. That was it.
Sacrificial. Salvation is sacrificial.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into it saying, I want what you have, but I want to keep what I have, it's going to be a rough walk.
It is.
It's going to be a very rough walk. And it's going to be a lonely walk.
I think that could get into another topic, but I think that when you, what is it? Oh gosh, I can't remember who said it, but when you finally give your life to God, expect your life to lose your life, lose
Yeah.
friends, lose family. You're going to lose business. You're going to lose sometimes jobs. You're going to lose all these things. Because if you say, God, take me,
He will.
he's going to.
He will use you.
And then when you hold on too tight, guess what happens?
Yep.
So
I mean, I just kind of chalked it up to the crazier I look to everyone else, the more on track I probably am. So there's that.
there's that.
If the world is like, you're insane, I'm like, gotcha. We're doing it.
I also like the theory that if I don't have people that tell me that I'm wrong, hate on me, or tell me I'm doing it wrong, then I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
Because as long as I'm doing it with God, like we said in the very beginning, as long as God is the answer, as long as where I'm supposed to be is in line with his path, and I know that I'm doing the best that I can. And again, not perfect. I know I'm doing the best that I can.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm doing what God's asking me to do, and I'm not doing what man asked me to do.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about that.
Measure. That's a mic drop.
That's a mic drop. All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much for being a part of this. For us, it's a pleasure to do this. We know that there are a lot of people that are going to tell you what, where, and how to get into the Bible. We're just going to give you our perspective of what has worked and what hasn't worked for us. Post in the comments if you have any questions or a topic you'd like us to touch on. As far as I go, I'm just grateful that even if one of you listens and if this can help somebody in your life, please share it with them. And it's not for us to get likes or clicks or anything. It's literally, please share it with them.
Yeah, just help them. I think the best part about following God is there's no right way to do it. Right. You just start walking. And that's what we're sharing.
Well, thank you for this week. I appreciate it.
Thanks. This is great.
I will see you guys next time.
See you next time.